fallen down as conservatives and constitutionalists and libertarians has been that we haven't done the job well enough to win over those individuals who say that they have the moral high ground and they're going to take care of everybody. If they come and I'm sick, I'll take care of you. You need a house, I'll give you a house. You need free education, I'll give you free education. And we lose the argument. And when a country is very wealthy, it's more difficult to do this because they can get away with it for a long time because they're consuming wealth. Well, they've consumed our wealth, and now they're borrowing money in order to try to argue this case that they'll take care of us. But now that is running out. So our job is to make sure we understand the issues well enough that we can go and convince others in their best interest. If we are to be seen as the humanitarians that we all should be, that what we do is show how if you care about people, if you care about prosperity, if you don't want people suffering with famine, and you don't want people being abused by dictator-type governments, and you don't want to be in fighting wars that shouldn't be fought, then you accept our views because this is what our views do. They do. They prevent the government from taking over and abusing and destroying us. Authoritarianism is the opposite of individualism. And we need to just fully understand that so we can pick up some pieces where we left off a good many years ago and be optimistic enough to realize that if we do the right thing, it's not that tough a fight. I mean, I think we could have a year or two where it would be a bad downturn. But what's happening now today, by not changing our government, by accepting the notion, spend more money, print more money, spread the war, build more weapons, it's just going to prolong the agony until we have a financial crisis. So they say, yes, but we care about the people and we want to make sure everybody has everything. Yes, but what if the dollar doesn't buy anything? What good will it be? So this is why it is so important to get people to understand that what we're talking about is not saying, well, we don't care about people, we're going to let the market take care of it and everything will be worked out. But what we want to do is be precise about the role of government. And the role of the government has a precise role, but it's very limited. It's mostly in a negative sense. Thou shalt not do this, and thou shalt not do this. The few things it's supposed to do, unfortunately, it doesn't do it. It was supposed to give us protection of private property rights, and look what it does with eminent domain. It takes away our property. The government's supposed to enforce contracts, but they always come in and interfering with the contracts and disrupting the marketplace. It's supposed to give us a sound currency. It doesn't do that. It's supposed to, maybe protect our borders. It doesn't do a very good job there either. This whole philosophy also incorporates the idea, which some people think is old-fashioned, and that's the idea of national sovereignty. I still believe in national sovereignty. And that, of course, means that we do not need a North American Union. Which means that we don't need another paper currency called the Amera. What we need is a gold standard.
Zeitgeist.
But we can do our best to keep the North American Union from coming, but I don't think we need the United Nations, the IMF, or the World Bank, or the WTO either. The WTO is always encroaching on our sovereignty. They've already come to the Congress and insisted we change our tax law because of World Trade Organization rules, and Congress has gone along with it. We've gone to war under UN banners. We redistribute wealth through the World Bank, and the financiers work through the IMF, and they're dumping gold on the market and all these things. But the WTO right now wants to expand their controls. They're very much involved in trying to globalize all regulations on all drugs and nutritional products, which we should strongly oppose. If you talk about freedom of choice in medications, they think about using drugs. At the same time, the same principle applies to us being able to buy vitamins and nutritional products and making our choices on alternative medicine. They should be our choices, not the government. Along those lines, I recently introduced legislation request to emphasize the fact that the federal government should not be involved in regulating and prohibiting you from drinking unpasteurized milk. Yeah! First time I said that, it was written up in the newspaper, and they said, where else could you ever go to a political rally and talk about allowing sick people to have marijuana and people to allowed to drink raw milk, other than Ron Paul rally? And once again, it's no threat. If somebody over here wants to drink raw milk, unpasteurized milk, let them do it. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I mean, so many problems can be solved, with freedom of choice. It can be summarized very simply. Freedom works. One other rule that I generally pass out, and it sounds like you don't need this instruction, and that is, if you're involved as you are, and you work hard in the campaign and other people's campaigns and whatever you decide to do, because each decision you make will probably be different, or you work in groups, or whatever. The main rule is you need to have fun doing it. I mean, social values the same, but we know what our goal is, and we're all going to benefit the same from our freedom. So that means that we are like-minded, and that we'll get along, and we won't be a threat to each other. And since it is tough work, and it is serious, we can't dwell on the negative stuff. We look at it as a fun job, at the same time with optimism that if we do the right things and we energize the people, there is no reason in the world why we can't win and make this great once again. Thank you very much.